Today we're working on line 8, the 8th road of Kuo Lien Ying's Tantui. It's an interesting line because it takes two sides, the right side and the left side, like I showed, to do one complete cycle of the actual move. The first side has just an open kick, and then the second one has a kick followed by the spin. So in teaching this, we're going to take it section by section because it's the kick is the kick and the spin is the most difficult part of the line. And we'll start from the beginning. Again, line 8, all the even lines go back in this way if you're starting facing this direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, so all even lines. So I'm going to start with my back towards you and go through each motion and describe them, and then I'll be cutting and doing in different directions so that you can see from all the different sides. It's going to start from the bow and arrow stance. Bow and arrow stance from here. Going to drop down like line 1, double block to the groin and tempo, come up, double block, punch to the side on both sides, a single block, and then a kick, and all the kicks are going to be a sole kick and toe back. Kick, and forward into the bow stance, and punch. So that's the right side part of the first cycle. So we take that again. One more time, I'll show you the other side. Bow and arrow, drop down like line 1, step out onto 45, double block, punch to the side, block, sole kick, come through the center, step forward in the bow stance, and punch. That's one half of the first cycle. So I'll go back this way and show you. It's going to be bow and arrow, drop down, back into the groin to the temple, step out onto 45, double block, punch to the sides, like in line 1, we punch this way it could be punch to the side, block. As you kick, come through the center, and at that point you can bring your fist back in, and then punch. Okay. And then I'll do it in this direction. Bow and arrow, drop down, block, punch to the side, block, come through the center with a kick, pointed toe, back, sole kick, and bow stance and punch forward. Okay. So that's going to be the first section. If you do that over and over in the beginning, then you'll get that section down before you go into the next section. So in the second section, you're going to be starting from this position after you punch out. You drop back down like you did in the beginning, guarding the groin and the temple. Step out on the 45, double block, punch to the side, block. So everything is the same as the first half, except after the kick, you're going to do the same kick coming through the center and sole kick. But after this kick, you're going to spin down and then punch. This is a crossover stance. And from here, you're going to open out, kick, and then punch. So you notice in this stance, I'm ending up exactly in the same as I started, because you do that spin, you end up. So that's one full cycle. And then the second cycle will start on this side, and then you're going to repeat everything opposite So let's go back to the opening. So again, you start off in that position. You start in this position, and you're going to end in this position as well. So from here, the second half of the first cycle on this side, dropping down, double block, punch to the side, block, soul kick, spin, drop down, punch, kick out, and punch. So that'd be second half of the first cycle. Okay. So that's the turkeys. So on that spin kick, I'm going to show you an exercise to practice that spin after the kick. So from here, see, you drop down, come up. If you do the soul kick, and first you practice dropping down halfway. It's a quarter turn. Okay, drop down, come up, block, kick. This time you're going to practice half turn. Kick. By practicing that quarter turn and a half turn, you get the idea of what the full spin feels like. So again, from this position, drop down, come up, double punch, block, kick, quarter turn. You can practice the punch afterwards as well. You could actually go in that direction. Okay, then we're going to do the half turn. Okay, drop down, double block, punch out to the sides, block, kick. So by doing the quarter turn and then the half turn, get used to that spin. Another trick is that after the kick, you're going to come into the center, much like a ice dancer does their spins. They always come into the center and they get more of a spin. After the kick, you're going to come in with your fists to the center, so as you do this rotation of a spin, everything will be centered, be easier. Also, as you're doing the spin, if you kind of come up a little bit on the ball of your foot, you might have an easier time spinning. Most people, they work out on pavement, and it makes it easier because the pavement is real consistent. Working out on a dirt surface like this, it's much harder actually, because you would think that the dirt would make you spin easier, but it's like very uneven, and so sometimes you have to kind of like use your heel and toe to kind of get that spin going. But again, if you take the kick and come across with a kick, that will get you momentum for the spin. So these are all going to be tricks. Okay, so again, from this position, drop down, come up, punch to the sides, kick. So that as I kick, watch how I take my leg across to get that spin. Okay, this time working to three-quarter turn. That's all you need. A three-quarter turn is what it is. So from here, drop down, double block, punch out to the side, block, kick, that, and then punch, kick, step into forward bow, and punch. There you go. You're in the end of the first cycle. So we go on to the second side. So we're going to take it from the first, after the first two movements of the first cycle, you'll be ending up after the spinning kick on the first cycle in this side. So the first one will be open. Drop down, double block, punch out to the side, block, soul kick, step forward, and punch. So this is the open side. Drop down, double block, punch to the side, block, kick. Now you're going to do this kick and spin, kick, spin, punch, kick out. So now you're at the end of the second cycle on the opposite side. So this will be like the very beginning. You're going to start over from the very beginning on this side, and then so forth. So I'm going to do the cycles on both sides, left and right, so you can see. It takes 4 of these movements to make 2 cycles, okay? One on one side and one on the other side. Also, as I was reviewing the video, from the falling stance in line 1, you have to step out on the 45 because you're doing the full twist. On this, even though you do step out, it doesn't have to be quite so dramatic. You can even be in this position here, so that it's like a little bit of a open bow rather than, doesn't have to be like a full 45 bow stance, because you're only punching out to the sides. You're not trying to punch the right forward, okay? So I'm going to do both sides on this part. Open, bow and arrow stance. Drop down, double block, punch to the side, block. So this is what I call the open side. Okay, now we're going to do the spin after the kick on this side. Drop down, double block, punch to the sides, block, kick, spin, punch, kick. And you start on the other side, do the whole cycle. Drop down, double block, punch to the sides, block. This is the open side, kick. Here. Now we're going to do this kick and a spin on this side. Drop down, come up, punch to the sides, block, kick. Drop down, punch, kick. So now you've done 2 sides. Step together and come up. Okay, important to note that when you come up, you're not going to do the bow and arrow for the next line. In line 9, starts from this position here. So we'll do the 2 cycles and we'll do it a little faster so you can see the rhythm in breaking it up and teaching it. You can see the kind of the flow and the tempo. That's Adam. I usually let him out at this time. He's reminding me. So that was the 2 cycles, a little bit more at full speed. I tend to, when after the spin, I tend to do the punch kind of mid squatting, but you can also go all the way down in the squat and punch as well. So either one. So there we have it, line 8, 8th road of Kuo Lien Ying's Tantui. We just have 9 and 10 to go, and then we'll be through the entire Tantui set. If you take my advice, take it 1 section at a time, then it's going to be easier. Also, if you wanted to There's another way you could practice this as well. You could just take the first open section, practice the open section only, and then get back to the kick and the spin. And you can practice the kick and spin together too. So if you were doing open, it would look like this. So you're just practicing those two sections without the kick and the spin. If you were to practice that in the beginning and then come back and interject the kick and the spin, that would be another way to progress in practicing this line. A lot of it depends whether you're a rote learner or a conceptual learner. A conceptual learner could do that. They could just learn the open side so they get the feeling of that rhythm and then interject the kick and the spin section in between. But if you tend to be a rote learner where you practice your mechanics by doing it over and over, then that might get a little confusing, and you might want to just do the kick, the open side, and then the kick and spin as I just taught it. So two different ways to practice. Again, if you go and practice that spin independently, I think you're going to progress faster than just waiting to every time that you get to the spin, because if, again, even in this section of area, it's hard to fit both sides in. I mean, it's like I'm trying to videotape too, but it takes the whole length of this area just to fit the two sides in. So that's like 4 sections. And then you're only practicing each spin one time if you do that over and over. By the time you do that, you're kind of tired. So you just kind of break it up like I did in that earlier part of the video and just work on the spin. Do this quarter spin, the half spin, and then the 3/4 spin. I think that's really will be easier way to progress on that kick and the spin, because that's really the hardest part of this line. So give it a practice. I hope you're enjoying doing your Tantui. I really encourage everybody to do the Kuo Shaolin, because again, to me, that's really the foundation of all good Kung Fu, is this strong Shaolin basis. And that's how a lot of Tai Chi experts, Yang Luchan, he studied long fist before he went to Tai Chi. Bo studied long fist before he went to Tai Chi. So I feel Shaolin is a really strong foundation. So thank you.